Elliot Anderson, Man City or Manchester United? Look, hopefully Manchester United. Reality, Man City are in the race. As I said to you, in January, Man City would have done the deal for Elliot Anderson in January. They had the money, they would have done it, but Forest didn't want to do it. I don't think Anderson wanted to do it, I don't know, but they couldn't do it. So they are interested, they will do it, they'll try and get it done quick. They'll be in talks with him now. Man United will be in talks with him as well. This is not a deal that you can just sit back and wait until the summer and say, we'll talk to you after the World Cup. You've got to be talking now. Like Forest, he ain't going to stay at Forest. There's no reason to stay at Forest. Sometimes you get a signing where a player might be like, I'm waiting till the summer. I don't want to talk to anybody because I might stay here. Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes might stay at Manchester United, might go somewhere else. He said he'll decide after the World Cup. Every reason to stay at United. He's been here for years. We will be in the Champions League, I believe. But he might get better offers from PSG, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich. You don't know. So Bruno is one of those players where it probably is, I'm not interested in talking about stuff at the moment. Go through my agent, blah, blah, blah. With Elliot Anderson, he will be leaving Forest in the summer. So conversations will be taking place. I wonder about this, and I'm just going to drop it out there. I do wonder with Elliot Anderson, the way that Manchester City work, I do wonder if they might try and push to get this done before the end of the season, certainly before the World Cup, because they're just that sort of club. They're a little bit like Chelsea. You know, when they know they want something, they tend to move on it. And if they can't get it, they'll move on to something else. It's a bit like when we wanted Alexis Sanchez and they were interested. They laid the cards on the table. Sanchez wanted a wage bidding war and they went, no, thank you. So I think with Man City, I think they might go a little bit soon on this. Now, I don't know whether that's going to suit United or not. I would say, unless City get that 115 thing done before the end of the season, I think that I would say United are probably 30% chance of getting him and Man City 70% of getting Elliot Anderson. I don't know what you would do it. Some people seem to think it's 50-50. I've even spoken to one journalist who thinks Man United might get him. So look, I'm not saying I'm definitive on this. I just feel it's 70% Man City, 30% us. Because wages will matter. I know what Ben Jacobs was saying is about you'd be surprised how players don't see money as important. Look, I like Ben. I respect Ben. But I've also been around football a lot, in the last 10 years especially, and there are a lot of players that go for money. And they're in the right to do that. I think it's naive to think that footballers don't follow money. Of course they bloody do. They're one of the most, justifiably, we were talking about Mainu. You're not going to sit at Man United and say, don't worry about the contract, I'm on 50 grand a week, when Mason Mount's on 250 grand a week. And that's the big thing. I think what Ben Jacobs said almost came across that players aren't motivated by money in the sense that they might go for a project. I know what he means. Like, if Everton say we'll give you £500,000 a week, and Arsenal say we'll give you 200 grand a week, you're going to go to Arsenal because of the project. I get what he's saying there. But what is also true is, if you sign for Manchester United and you're on 150 grand a week or 200 grand a week, and you walk through the door and you see Mason Mount not injured again on 250 grand a week, that causes a problem with players. They don't like that. That's why they have agents. So money will come into it. Man City will be able to put good money on the table. They will be able to put a good project on the table, and I think we can match Man City on the fee. If Forest want 80 million, I think we can both pay that. I don't think that's necessarily a problem. I was listening to what Andy Mitten said about Sesko. Newcastle actually apparently offered more wages to Sesko to go to Newcastle. Man United matched the transfer fee for Sesko with Leipzig. So there's an example of what I mean. I think sometimes, you might get a slightly higher wage at a club, but you want to go to that club. And the Sesko example is really good because it wouldn't have been a world of difference between Newcastle and Manchester United, but with the best will in the world, Newcastle isn't Man United, and we all said this in the summer. If this summer Stiller has to choose between Man United and Newcastle, and Man United give him 20, 30 grand a week more, I think he'd choose Man United. I think that's what Ben Jacobs is talking about. The project sometimes balances the extra money. But if it's Liverpool or Man United, and Liverpool are offering a little bit more money, I think you've got to have you got to get a bit lucky there. And I think Man City will be able to offer more wages. So look, we've got to be in it to win it. We've got to be brave to win. And I think that we're in this race. I think the fans are doing their bit. Well, apart from you prats yesterday saying you wouldn't pay £100 million for him. I mean, hopefully he wasn't watching. But I think in the main, we do want him. I think he'd walk straight into this team